We want to put, what is that word? Like this. It's better to give, you create his own entrance on that corner, then the officers can use a different entrance. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming for our 33rd county tour, Jukwaa la Usalama. We are very happy to be in our final, the 5th county in Mount Kenya region, particularly the east, which comprises of Embu, Meru, Tharaka Nithi in this middle part of the country. And I'm very happy that we are here in Kirinyaga today, a very significant county, very enterprising, very significant because it's named after the tallest mountain in the country. And so we are very happy done by officers. I'm very happy also for the progress we've made. When this administration came to office, had a very big challenge when it comes to illicit brew, adulterated ethanol, and all these other drugs and all kinds of alcohol that people. I'm happy that the collaboration between the security team, the county government, the local community has resulted in great progress. Kirinyaga now is ranked 35th county when it comes to challenges of alcohol, meaning that it's not among the top 30 counties. It's actually among the last 12 counties in the country. And therefore, with the discussions we've had today to up the game, we are going to be able to deal with this issue with finality. I'm happy that local brews have actually been contained, especially illicit brews that are brewed locally among the communities. We still have some challenges with, what did you call this one? Makabo, yeah, that one, Makabo, which is basically creativity among local people combining molasses and some alcoholic drinks and so forth. A challenge that when we were in the eastern region, we were also told of the same in particularly at Tharaka Nithi and Embu. So I have asked the team to put more pressure in terms of dealing with those issues. The good news also here is that the challenges that are faced in Kirinyaga are not actually inward. It's not inborn. Most of the alcohol that presents challenges here are brought from Nairobi and other counties. And therefore, the more we do operations in places like Nairobi, Murang'a, where Murang'a and Kiambu are the top-ranking counties in this region, once we succeed in the work that we are doing, I am confident that the impact that Kirinyaga has had will have been dealt with. We also have proliferation of cannabis sativa here, which is basically, again, brought by some peddlers and traffickers from also the other parts of the country. We have our security team is working together in this region to make sure that cannabis sativa that is grown in places like Mount Kenya and places like Abadeas is dealt with, as we discussed yesterday when we were in Nyeri. So the progress is very good. Contrary to the propaganda sometimes peddled around here that there is a crisis in Mount Kenya, there is no crisis. The crisis is elsewhere. And I keep insisting that the crisis is in the western part of the country, particularly Trans Nzoia, which, pursuant to our visit, a lot of work has been done. Places like Kakamega, Vihiga, Kisumu, and then also Nairobi, Kiambu, and Machakos areas, and some parts of Kajiado bear the greatest impact together with Mombasa. And so if you look at the ranking in terms of consumption of drugs and alcohol, I'm very happy that there is a lot of conversation in Mount Kenya region. sometimes to the extent that people think there is a crisis. But that conversation is generated by citizen consciousness. There is high level of citizen consciousness against alcohol and drug abuse, which is a very positive thing. If we have to win the war against alcohol and drug abuse, the best thing is to have greater civic involvement by the citizens and to create the level of awareness and conversation that has been happening in Mount Kenya region that has led to these counties being among the top counties in terms of responsiveness against the drugs and alcohol abuse. The places where there is a lot of silence, like the Nyanza Western region and parts of Rift Valley, is actually where there is greater suffering because there is a very low citizen consciousness and citizen anger. You see, until people are tired and angry about these things, perhaps they may not be as cooperative as we want in terms of the enforcement. We have also put a lot of the security agencies here on the spotlight. Changes have been made before, and we continue to do so, especially where we find any security officer involving themselves in these acts, both administrators and police officers who are involving themselves will be dealt with. I'm also very happy that this county has a very good collaboration in terms of collaborative team, interagency team that deals with matters of drugs and alcohol abuse. And what we are only seeking for is greater enforcement from and collaboration with the county government, because there are almost 2,000 plus outlets that are operating in this county, very small county with a very small population. To have 2,000 outlets is too much. And over almost 1,000 of them are unlicensed. And so it needs greater vigilance and collaboration to make sure that we close the outlets that are not licensed. But also those that are in the proximity of schools, homes, must be closed. The second issue that I wanted to speak about here is that there is a very strange phenomenon here and generally in this region about suicides. There is a higher number of people who are committing suicide, and the reasons are varying from family issues, from withdrawal from drug and alcohol abuse, and I think that I will be speaking to National Crime Research Center, which is a department within our ministry. We need to facilitate them to do some research to tell us exactly what are the real causes of this kind of suicides that we see in this region generally. Yesterday in Nyeri, that was a subject of a lot of discussion. Here again, we still get 5, 8 people dying every month in one county as a result of suicide. If you combine that in all the 5 counties, that is a very huge number of people we are losing. And so we need to have a conversation. Some of the chiefs yesterday gave pointers to sometimes it is, and most of them are men, and older men, 50s and above. So there is some concern there that there could be family challenges. It would be linked to gender-based violence in homes, inheritance-related issues, pressure they get from their children. And sometimes we were told by some chief yesterday in Nyeri that sometimes most of these men are abandoned by their wives later in life and join their children elsewhere, whether abroad, Nairobi, and other parts of Kenya. So I don't know if those theories are true. It's important that we engage properly research people to be able to deal with this issue. Other than that, I will be speaking to the chiefs and the assistant chiefs to also make sure that there is greater awareness on these issues. We need to also talk to the county government. We work together to see more councillors in the community. These are the soft areas that are underfunded in our country, are the ones that are, social workers, councillors. These are some of the areas we need intervention. The impact gets to security, but these are different societal problems. And as a security sector, we have no choice but to deal with them and therefore give the relevant recommendations to the different departments of government to be able to deal with these issues. We also have generally land issues in this county, a lot of which are being historical land issues, and they are being addressed. Title deeds are also being processed, and a number of them have been processed, particularly in the is it south?
South in Gariama.
Yeah, south Ngariama. I thought it's not just Ngariama, but south Ngariama area. The Ministry of Lands is doing a good job, and I believe that there is good consultation between the ministry and the local community. And we want to, our job, we are not land adjudicators, but we want to, when land adjudication and land issues are being settled, we are insisting from security perspective that it's be done in a very peaceful manner, including the issues that are historically have been always handled in the Mwea scheme, and which I believe that the relevant agencies are in full control of those issues. There's also the thorny issue that still persists when I was in Embu and now here, of the question of road accidents, particularly as a result of overspeeding Miraa vehicles. I gave directions in Embu that the Miraa owners need to come for consultative meeting with our security team. Unfortunately, we haven't received the level of cooperation we've wanted from these Miraa transporters, and we cannot equate. We are always told about economic value of Miraa, but nobody tells us about the cost when it comes to our children. So my take is that I have instructed the county traffic officer and the security team to carry out serious crackdown on overspeeding vehicles that are causing accidents, and they have our full support. And they must do that in collaboration with NTSA to make sure that this issue of road accidents is dealt with. Of course, there are other interventions in the region, including the president has instructed an allocation of resources to deal with Nidi Bridge, which is in Tharaka Nithi County. But all these other places, as we even work on infrastructure and put in place enforcement mechanisms, including speed cameras, it's important that the traffic department continue doing their part to deal with these issues. Other than that, you can see, unlike other counties where we visited, there are no very major challenges in Kirinyaga that cannot be dealt with. Once in a while, we have this, we have goons, and that sometimes once in a while, during demonstrations or political activities, they are recruited by politicians to cause havoc. And I was very saddened that on 25th of June and on the 7th of July, there were, hired goons that went to attack people's businesses, attempted to attack factories and supermarkets, burning people's infrastructure, burning government vehicles. This is a behavior that is unbecoming of any leader. I'm happy that a good number of people, over 100 of them, were arrested. Some admitted to their offenses and were fined, and some are still facing charges in court. The process of identifying even more organizers and financiers is ongoing, and for as soon as their files are ready, they will be presented to DPP so that they can be charged. We are not going to take any part of this country, or we're not going to cede any part of this country to criminals who want to cause havoc. I have asked leaders from this county and from this region that political activities must be done in a civilized manner and peaceful way. There is nothing wrong with people disagreeing politically, but it must be done in a civilized manner, not in a manner to harm your neighbor or to destroy anybody's property or to intimidate people, to force them to support your ideas. It's important that this region remains a peaceful region, and particularly this county. Because we are starting today, we intend to start today early, because we want to allow Kenyans to have including our chiefs and stakeholders, to go to different fun zones or their homes or their restaurants and hotels to go and watch the Harambee Star match. So this is a very exciting day for us, for the first time in a very long time. we are optimistic that we can qualify to continental semi-finals. So thank you very much.
Just one question.
Yeah, I'll take 3 questions. So starting with you.
Mine is,
and please introduce yourself.
I'm Boniduku from Citizen Media.
Yes.
There was a concern yesterday of the attack in goons along Mombasa Road. Maybe what is the government doing about it? Then the issue of suicide, which county is leading this region?
On the suicide issue, we think from the numbers we got, it's almost like it's Nyeri. But we cannot firm it up because numbers were not presented in Kiambu, and you know Kiambu is a bigger county, so we cannot really we didn't firm up the numbers in Kiambu, and it wasn't really coming out in Kiambu as a major issue, but it was until we were in Nyeri and Kirinyaga a little bit, Nyandarua a little bit, and then Nyeri, and then it's repeated here. So that's why I told you scientifically it would be important to get the Crime Research Center to do for us a thorough analysis as to the causes, but the numbers are alarming. Compared to other counties, I think that their numbers is a bit alarming. I have said, and I think I'll repeat this to this morning, that we do not condone any kind of violence by anybody, and we request political leaders to cooperate with police officers in all the investigations related to violence. We want everybody to carry out their political activities in a peaceful environment, and we don't want violence. I know that when I said 3 days ago that we were requesting members of political party that wanted to hold a political activity yesterday, when I said that they need to notify the police, I heard one of their leaders, former senator, saying that they have no obligation to notify the police and that they don't need the police to hold a meeting. So unfortunately, as a result of the absence of that notification yesterday, the police were not aware about what was going to happen, which route, what place. I wish they had heeded to my advice. The reason why the law says you notify the police is not because it's not that the police so that the police can give you the right to hold meetings. No, it's just for the police to provide security and to give right security advice to the citizens of Kenya. Had we sat down and cooperated with the police officers, I don't think the situation would have happened yesterday in the manner in which it did, because the police would have taken prior notice of what's happening, provided clear the routes, and provide also advice. In the National Police Service, we don't advise only people who are in government. We advise also every citizen, including those in opposition, on the best thing to do security-wise as they carry out their security activities. I insist, for avoidance of doubt, that anybody who wants to have public event, it is important to notify the police and to cooperate with the police officers. We do not want situations where people refuse to notify the police, insist on having political activities notwithstanding police advice, and then go ahead to blame the same police. Yet prior to that, they were saying they don't need the police. So we need each other, and everybody needs the police officers in terms of dealing with these issues. Otherwise, those events will be investigated. Anybody will be found culpable, regardless of their political standing, will be held accountable. Anybody who organized for people to be stoned, journalists who were hurt, we will take a very stern action against any person who is involved. 2 other questions. You wanted to ask a question? Okay.
Waziri?
Yes. Yeah.
My name is Wanena Kere from Mediamax.
Okay.
Yes, in terms of the fight against illicit brew, we have cases whereby police have arrested those who engage in the business, they are taken to the courts and they are released and they go back to the business. Maybe what are you going to do?
Well, we have sometimes we actually, from where we are, we have no control of what the courts are going to do. We just will continue arresting and taking to court. If the court releases people, we will take them again, release, we will arrest in another and take them again. What we want to do, there is a court users forum that is in every county. We encourage our county commissioner and the security team to have meetings with these judges and magistrates whom they work together to come to an understanding on how best this issue is going to be dealt with. Of course, you understand also the magistrates in some situations because if the cells are full and you are arresting people over, one glass of changa, 2 glasses of changa, there is only so many people you can arrest. So some of them will be fined, rightfully so. But the most notorious ones, especially the traders, who are actually trading in large volumes, and the brewers and the manufacturers of this, or the mixers, they call them mixologists. All these people, perhaps the ones who bear the greatest responsibility should carry the greater burden. And that is why there is always need to be continuous conversation with the judiciary to make sure that these people are fined heavily, given very stringent bail terms to ensure that they don't continue committing these offenses and get away with it. For example, someone is fined 1 million for either not worth 100 million. That person just get out there. Maybe his profit is about 20 million. If they pay 1 million, 19 million is still there for him to compromise the system. And so we need to work together with the judiciary to sort out this issue. Yes.
Johnson from Rovinda Services. Kutafanya na Kiswahili. Kuna machief wawili na manaibu walifutwa kazi wakati kulikuwa na pombe pande wa magharibi. Washukiwa walikamatwa ambao expert ilikuwa kwa police station huko pande hiyo. Hatima ya machief namna gani sasa?
Kwa mambo ya chief yoyote ama polisi yoyote ambaye anaadhibiwa kwa sababu ya mapambano na mambo ya pombe, hiyo process ama njia ya kuadhibu hawa lazima ifuate sheria, na kwa mtu yoyote ambaye anapatikana kwamba alikuwa na ukosefu wa nidhamu, anapitishwa kupitia njia ya inayohitajika kikatiba, na akipatikana na hatia anavutwa kazi, asipopatikana na hatia anarudishwa kazi yake. Kwa hivyo kwa machifu wawili ambao umeuliza, nitashughulikia maswali haya katika jukwaa la usalama baadaye, na naamini ya kwamba mtakuwa pale ndio muweze mkafuatilia mambo hayo, kwa sababu machifu wenyewe wako pale na tuko tayari kujibu maswali ambayo wanaweza kutuuliza leo katika jukwaa la usalama. Swali la mwisho kama liko. Yes, mine.
Waziri, my name is Professor Maina from KBC, and mine is still on yesterday's occurrences in Mombasa, Nairobi. And one is the issue of journalists. We saw some of them, they were injured, the equipment was stolen, their cars were vandalized. How do journalists operate in such occurrences or in such a situation? Because they must cover all these kinds of whatever is happening, whether it's politics or whatever it is. How do you assure their security while they go about their daily activity? And two, there's a general concern that when there's a political rally or political event, people along, even people who are not even attending those particular rallies, they get hurt. We saw some of them getting robbed on the highway, pedestrians, and even the motorists. How do people who are not even associated with these kinds of politics how can you assure their safety? How do they get along their businesses without, getting all these injuries and losses?
It points to this situation we witnessed yesterday. Points to what I said earlier, that misuse of young people, or sometimes hiring goons to just come and cause terror, is an issue of great concern to us in the security sector. And so, as I said, investigations must be done to find out who exactly organized them and for what purpose. Again, sometimes because of we don't understand the magnitude of or we are not informed about the plans of the political actors, sometimes the police are just on standby to see whether there is any problem. Like yesterday, police were generally on standby because there was no clear notification to them about what event was going to happen and what routes. I was, for example, very saddened that political activists were going to play games at our airport. I mean, you could see people want to invade inside the airport, and that is a very serious issue. The airport is a protected area. It's not a place to play the kind of politics that we saw. And you saw, people entering inside the airport just with a lot of razzmatazz for absolutely nothing, for pure zero political value, zero economic value, zero PR. Whatever it was being done, it was just useless. And for it to be done inside the airport, it's just totally unacceptable. And that's why we were saying, if the team was intended to do good for our country, they would have worked with the police. They would say, we are welcoming our visitor. Can you give us a designated area we want to welcome? Can our vehicles be parked in a particular manner? Can we be escorted to the place where we want to have a rally? And then everything would have been fine. But this idea of ignoring the importance of security sector in terms of such events is totally unacceptable. And I remember I told you 2 days ago that any person who wants to have their political activities, we will facilitate once notification is given, and we will deploy the necessary, a good number of the police officers to provide protection. Unfortunately, innocent people are caught up in these situations. So it is regrettable that the journalists were in that situation. And I think going forward, we just need proper deployment of police officers so that they can also protect not just journalists but members of the public. And maybe this is something we can work with the Association for the Journalists and to see what will happen during such events. How shall the local police commander dealing with those issues, what we can tell them to secure the journalists. There must be closer relationship between the media and the police office and the government, because our duty is to facilitate access to proper information by the public and be done in a responsible manner. So, as I said last